Hello, welcome to Skull RPG Podcast. My name's Dwight Skull.
My name's Jacob Skull.
And today we're going to teach you how to tell your story. So, Jacob, we've been doing kind of a mock series right now. I guess it's a full series now on resources for game masters. Yesterday we talked about just some random generators specifically for dungeons and stuff. But today you found one that is a little bit less random, but still easy to use and free.
Yes. So this one's called Dungeon Scroll. We'll have it on our resources page. This one allows you to create your own dungeons, and the advantage with this one is it's designed to be easy to grasp. If you can drag and drop shapes like MS Paint, you can build a dungeon with this, and it has a high skill ceiling to actually be able to make pristine dungeons when you take the time to get it, but you don't necessarily need to take the time.
Well, and also it's got the nice, if you guys have ever seen some of the old school mapping where they do like shading outside of the map, it's got a lot of that feature to it too. So it actually looks really well done and hand drawn.
And then there's different style presets that you can go through to so you can have different styles. They also allow multi-page PDF export, so you can only have a print off of one part of the map to hand to your players.
Or better yet, you could actually, instead of trying to figure out the detail on something that's only a page long, you could print out something that's maybe 9 or 12 pages. And if you taped it all together, you would have your entire dungeon. But if you just use it as a resource, you could just realize that, this is leading to page 2, this one's leading to page 3. So you could have it in a binder, and as your players are exploring this huge dungeon you've created, you can basically just turn to whatever page you need. Yep. I will say, I opened it up for the first time, and I had a quick and easy dungeon running in less than 5 minutes. The controls were pretty intuitive. A couple of them were a little wonky, but for the most part, if I was just doing like adding doors and adding kind of like a castle type of feel or a dungeon that's hewn out of stone, not just natural cavern.
It's perfect.
It would be perfect. You could also, he has some images of doing spaceships and stuff out of it. So if you're doing you want to create your spaceship for your sci-fi game, you can do it here. You could run it for your Shadowrun Cyberpunk games you could do basically a corp headquarters, and you can run it the same way through that as well. It also allows for a lot of import. So if you are using that Don John's random dungeon generator,
you can import it into here and modify it even further.
Yeah, because it'll import his image, but then it'll add it to look like the same things.
You can also import image assets, so you could add, like, if you had generic benches and stuff, you could add them in and put them where you want them.
Treasure chests, tables, so you could build a tavern with this if you had some images of like tables, chairs, bars, stools, that sort of stuff.
Yep, and then it looks like you can layer your images, so you could have a paper texture over top your normal dungeon texture to give it a different feel.
Yeah, so then you can do a nice little printout and have a technically you could have kind of like it's called the T-stain look. It's an old school map. It does look like you have some isometric mode. That looks way complex for me. It's like 3-dimensional. But if you needed a 3-dimensional design, it looks like it'll handle it as well. Basically, what I gathered out of this tool, first of all, it's free because of Patreon users, so that's kind of cool. So if you really like this stuff, I'd suggest maybe checking out his Patreon, see what you can do to support anybody on that.
Yeah.
The other thing I really like is that this just seems to be a really quick and easy tool. But if you wanted to delve into it, you could get started and really do a lot with it.
Because that's your and I's problems with a lot of normal dungeon stuff.
It's not
the
quick.
Time sink in it in order to be knowing what you're doing is a lot. This one is a couple of seconds of fiddling around with it, and you have the gist to start, which is advantageous.
Exactly. Yeah, you're in and out pretty fast. So it's kind of nice to have. It's kind of like maybe chess. It doesn't take that much to learn, but to master it, it could take, your whole lifetime. This tool feels a lot like that. It doesn't take a lot to jump into it, but it could definitely take a lot to get it mastered.
And you don't necessarily need it mastered.
No.
You just need to have enough for what your needs are.
Exactly.
So if you're just needing a quick dungeon that you just need for tonight, it doesn't have to look pretty.
Well, and the nice thing is, what you could do is you could go to the Don John stuff, get it so that it doesn't look pretty, and then just
fix it.
Carte blanche, throw it in here, and it'll look really nice. The only issue, of course, is it's not going to map out the doors, nor is it going to map out any of the room numbers.
No.
Which would be very helpful to you. So you might have to add that in manually, which it does support
It
text
does support
and fonts.
text, and you can also do different symbols and stuff with it too, which is nice.
Yeah, so you can put your little summoning circle or some other little thing on there if you really want. So anyway, check it out. It's go to our resources page. Check out all the resources we have. Pretty much everything on our resources page is 100% free. And at that point, you can basically jump in there and see what might work for you to help you become a better GM and also maybe save yourself some time. So we'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Hey, thanks for listening.
And for more resources, please go to skullrpg.com.